Hi, this is Liz Losey from ESC's Educator Effectiveness Team. The Professional Standards for Teachers, also known as the PSTs, were updated in 2014 to mirror the Massachusetts Educator Evaluation Framework. ESC released guidelines in January 2015 with detailed indicators for each of the 4 professional standards. The PSTs and indicators outlined in the PST guidelines help ensure that preparation in Massachusetts results in teachers who are ready for the classroom on day 1. We acknowledge that teaching is a profession in which individuals will grow in their expertise. We are clear, however, that in order to make a difference with students, teachers must meet a standard for readiness on the first day in the classroom. Working with a group of educators, ESC sought to differentiate expectations appropriate for the developmental nature of the profession. Understanding that teachers will progress on each standard throughout their career, the PST guidelines describe the level of practice that candidates should demonstrate by the time they complete their teacher preparation program and are endorsed for licensure. The 3 levels of practice include introduction, practice, and demonstrate. At the introduction level of practice, candidates are expected to show understanding through coursework and/or in field-based experiences. At the practice level, candidates are expected to have opportunities to practice, to be observed, and to receive feedback throughout coursework and/or in field-based experiences. At the demonstrate level of practice, candidates are expected to consistently demonstrate competency through coursework and in field-based experiences as measured by the candidate assessment of performance. The indicator differentiation signals the level of practice that candidates should demonstrate by the time they complete their teacher preparation program, and acknowledges that teachers will progress on each standard throughout their careers. When considering the content to assess in CAP, ESC and the CAP Advisory Committee identified the need to focus on the indicators identified at the demonstrate level of practice in the PST guidelines. Part of the reason the expectation for candidates for this subset of indicators is at the demonstrate level is because the underlying practices and skills are most critical for success as a beginning teacher, so it is fitting for CAP to also focus on these areas. In order to keep the content assessed by CAP manageable by programs, supervising practitioners, and candidates, ESC selected 6 essential elements to assess in CAP that would be representative of a candidate's readiness to be impactful on day 1. These specific elements were selected because they can be crosswalked to each of the PST indicators required at the demonstrate level, and the absence of a teacher's abilities in these areas is likely to put students at risk. Overall, there are 23 PST indicators, 13 of which were designated at the demonstrate level of practice, and 6 that were deemed essential for ensuring that teacher candidate readiness. As an example, when looking at the well-structured lessons element that sits within the Curriculum Planning and Assessment Standard and is one of the 4 elements embedded within the Curriculum and Planning indicator, we found that the other 3 elements included in this indicator were prerequisites for the well-structured lessons element. So for the well-structured lessons element, we believe that students will not be at risk if a teacher develops and implements well-structured lessons with challenging and measurable objectives, uses appropriate student engagement strategies, appropriately paces and sequences activities, uses appropriate materials, resources, and technology, and uses thoughtful grouping strategies. In summary, the 6 essential elements were deemed essential if the absence of a teacher's competency in the skill was likely to put students at risk, and if the element could serve as an umbrella for skills outlined in other elements. In most cases, other elements were prerequisite skills to those outlined in the essential element. We believe that the combined performance on the 6 essential elements will be representative of candidates' readiness to be impactful on day 1.